Hello everyone, welcome back to another session of building estimate, how to calculate the quantities of different item of works. In the entire lecture series of building estimate, we have learned the concept of center line method, long wall and short wall method. We have calculated various numericals and we have calculated various quantities such as excavation, PCC, foundation, brickwork in foundation, brickwork in superstructure, deduction for doors and windows, deduction for lintels, RCC work for slab, chhajja and lintel. Then we have seen the flooring, the plaster, excavation in filling in planes, filling in excavation, and so and so. We have then prepared abstract sheet for the few of the quantities which we have calculated. After that, we have learned the fundamentals of reinforcement calculation and we have learned the quantity calculation for RCC beam and RCC column. So, in case of this concept, if you are not aware of what I have just told you, kindly go back to the previous lectures, previous videos, watch them, practice them and then come back to this session. Well, I've included this session into the building estimate, but let us see what we are going to actually learn. Yes, you have read it right that we are going to learn the estimate of other civil engineering structures. So what we are going to learn in this session is that concept and the methods for quantity calculation of the road, and then we are going to see a numerical based on that road quantity calculation. So let us start with the concept of or the methods of quantity calculation for the road. So as you can see in the figure, the cross section of the road is always in the shape of trapezium. Either the road will be in the cutting, either the road will be in the filling. If the road is in the cutting depth will be the D. Then the slope will become S:1. This S:1 is generally horizontal to vertical. Now, if the width of a road is B and the depth is D, so the entire trapezium will be divided into two parts, two triangles and one rectangle. So the same case will happen in the filling. If the road is in filling, the filling height will be D, the width of road is B, and the slope is S:1. So I hope we are clear about the cutting and filling aspect in the road. Students, this kind of concept you have already learned in your highway engineering subject or the transport engineering subject. So now let us move forward with the formula of the quantity work calculation for road. So the quantity of the earthwork will be area into length. So the area of this trapezium will be area of two shapes, area of the rectangular portion and 2 times the area of the triangle, because there are two triangles. So the area of the rectangular portion is B into D and the area of the triangular portion is half into base into height. The base is SD and the height was D. So SD square. So the total area will become BD into SD square. Now this is the area. We are going to calculate the quantity. So area into length. So the final quantity will be BD plus SD square bracket entirely multiplied with the L. That will be our quantity for the road work. Now let us see the different methods for the quantity calculation of the road work. So the method of quantity calculation is entirely divided into two categories. The first is if the ground is plain and having no longitudinal slope. So if the ground is plain and having no longitudinal slope, the quantity will be BD into SD square into L, where S:1 is your slope horizontal to vertical and length L is your length of road. But the second category is if the ground is plain but having a longitudinal slope, there will be a certain slope. So to calculate the quantity for such cases, there are two methods, mid-sectional method and mean sectional method. Let us discuss two of this method one by one into the detail. So, the first method which we are going to learn is mid-sectional method. In this method, height of cutting or filling is going to be calculated from the differences of the ground level and the formation level. Here, average depth between two successive cross sections is taken into the account to calculate the area. Once you get the depth and you get the area, a tabular format is being prepared to calculate the quantity or the cutting and the filling. So, here is the tabular format. So, as you can see, in the mid-sectional method, the table is majorly divided into 8 columns. The first column is of chainage. The chainage is always in the meter. Then, the second column is of depth. This depth is the difference between ground level to formation level. The ground level data and the formation level data will be given to you in the question. The next and the very important part of the mid-sectional method is average depth. Here, just in the theory portion, I have read it that average depth is calculated from the two successive cross-sectional depth. So, average depth is the average depth of the two successive cross-sectional. Then, area of the mid portion, that rectangular portion, B, D square. Here, the D is your average depth. Then, the area of side portion, that is SD square. Again, D is your average depth. Then, there will be total area, BD plus SD square. Then, to find, this is the area. To find out the length, we need to have the distances between 2 points. So, that is your length. And if you multiply that L with the area, either that will be in the cutting or that will be in the filling. So, last column is further divided into 2 sub-columns, that either the quantity will be in the cutting or the quantity in the filling. Here, again, students, I am reminding you that unit, you must write the unit of the quantity. Here, always the unit will be meter cube. So, I have mentioned the whole unit in the column. Filling and the bracket, you can see I have written meter cube. So, no separate unit you need to mention because the entire column is having the same unit. So, this is about the mid-sectional method. Now, let us look at the mean sectional method for the quantity of the road work. In this method, instead of using the average depth to calculate the area, here the average area is being used to calculate the quantity. Here, to calculate the area, original depth D is being taken into the consideration. And once you get all the data, again a tabular format is being prepared. So, here is the tabular data for the mean sectional method. Again, the column is entirely divided into 8 columns. The first is chainage, same as mid-sectional, that will be provided into the given question. Then the second column is depth. The depth is the difference between ground level to formation level. Again, the data will be provided in the question. Then, instead of finding out the average depth, students, what we are doing in the mid-sectional method, we were finding out the average depth. But here in mean sectional, we need to directly find out area of the side portion and area of the mid portion. Then there will be column of total area BD plus SD square. Now, the concept of mean sectional method is trying to say that you need to take average of two successive areas instead of the successive depth. So, here the next column will be of average area. Then area is, you have the area, then the distance between 2 points, that will be work as your L. Now, if you multiply this area with the length, the quantity will be either in cutting or either in filling. So, that is about mean sectional methods. Students, let me revise you that in the mid sectional method, after finding the depth, How will you find the depth? Ground level minus formation level. So after finding out the depth, you need to take the average depth, and on the basis of average depth, you will calculate the area. In mean sectional method, after finding out the depth, first you will find the area and then you will take the average area of two successive chain edge points. I hope you are clear between mid-sectional method and mean sectional method. Sometimes in question it is being asked that calculate the quantity from both the methods. So now let us see a numerical to clear out all the concept of the quantity calculation of road work. Let us see. So as you can see in the question, the chainage and the ground level data is being provided into the question, such as for the chainage length 0 meter, the ground level is 10.55, then for 30 meter 10.50, and so and so. So the chainage points are 30 meters away from each other, and there are different ground level measurements are given. Another data given in the question is the formation level of the road is 10 meter and the width of a road is 7.50 meter. The side slope are 1:1 in horizontal to vertical in cutting and filling both. So we need to find out the quantity of cutting and the quantity of the filling. Here we are going to do the sum from both the methods which we have learned, that by mid-sectional method and by mean sectional method. Again, I am repeating the data that chainage and the ground level is given, the formation level data is given, the width of the road is given, the slope 1:1 is given. So all we need to prepare is the tabular format which we have learned in the method of mid-sectional and mean sectional. I am beginning with the mid-sectional method. Let us see. Before we prepare the tabular format of mid-sectional method, we need to prepare this table to find out the depth. After finding out the depth, we'll get to know that how much quantity is being into cutting and how much quantity is into filling. So in the question, it was given that formation level is 10. So for point 0, the depth was 10.55, formation level is 10. So we need to, the road formation level as 10 meter and the original point is ground level is 10.55. So we need to cut down those 0.55. So this quantity is greater than 10. The ground level points which are greater than 10, that will be into the cutting, and the ground level which are less than 10 meter, that will be into the filling. Instead of writing out the minus, I have shown as cutting and filling. So it is better that instead of putting minus sign, you write which is cutting or which is filling. That is completely acceptable. The width B is considered as 7.5. So now we are ready to go with our mid-sectional method. So as you can see, I prepared the entire table of the mid-sectional method. Let me give you the brief about initial 2-3 points. The first chain edge point is 0. The depth is 0.55. The second is 30. The depth is 0.50. Now, by using mid-sectional method, we have learned that we need to take the average depth. So average depth of two successive points. So 0.55 plus 0.50 divided by 2 will be the average. So average depth will become 0.525. Now after finding out the average depth, we need to find out the mid portion area, that is BD. Now B is your 7.5, D you have just found out 0.525. So that will be around 3.93. Now the side portion, S is your 1, so S D square. So D square 0.525 square, that will be 0.28. Now we need to add this 3.93 plus 0.28. So BD plus SD square will get 4.22. Now the distance between 2 points, so 0 and 30, that is 30. So we have the area, we have the length, multiplying, we'll get the quantity as 126.60 cubic meter. Again, let us see for chainage length 30. Here the depth is 0.50. For 0.60, the depth is 0.40. So taking up the average, 0.40 plus 0.50 divided by 2, that is 0.45. Now BD, SD square, BD plus SD square, again the difference between 2 points is 30. So we'll get the quantity as 107.40 meter. So this is how you are going to calculate for the each and every point. So we'll get the quantity for cutting as 409.5 and for filling 468.70 cubic meter. So I hope we are clear about the mid-sectional method. Now we are going to do this sum again with mean sectional method. Let us see. So let me revise you the concept of mean sectional method. Here we need to take average area instead of average depth. So here for the first point, the depth was 0.55. Using this depth 0.55, first we'll find out the mid portion area, side portion area and adding them. So we'll get 4.43 as total area. Now for point 2 was for chainage 30. For that the depth was 0.50. Using this depth, we'll find total area as 4 meter. So the average 4.43 plus 4 divided by 2. So now we need to take the average area, that will be 4.32. Now the distance is 30. So 4.32 multiplied with the 30. So we'll get again as cutting quantity 126.60 cubic meter. Again, for 0.30, we have the original area 4. So for 4.60, the depth is 0.40. So the total area will become 3.16. Now the average of 4 and 3.16. So we'll get 2.95 and we'll get the quantity for 30 meter chainage as 107.40. So you can see the answer are always going to be the same from the both the methods. Minor differences about of 0.50 or 1 cubic meter is allowable, but you will get the nearly answer the same by doing the both the method. So I hope we are clear into mean sectional method. So this is it. That was all about in today's lecture. So in case of any query or doubt, you can always contact me on my mail or my number. Thank you.